when I approach her, God. Oh God, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Oh God, I hear you, God. Help me with this, God. Help me with this, God. Help me with this, God. Help me to watch how I talk to her, God. Because she's been through some stuff, God. Because she's overcome some stuff, God. Because she's accomplished some stuff, God. Because she experienced some stuff, God. Because she's learned some stuff, God. Because she's wiser now, God. God, because she's more experienced now, God. God, because she's more confident now, God. Help me to watch how I talk to her, God. Help me to watch how I approach her, God. Help me to watch how I handle her, God. Help me to watch how I be with her in my being, God. Oh God, help me to watch how I am with her, how I am with him, how I am treating her as if she is not standing in the midst of an answered prayer, God. Help her to help me to see, God, that grace is my portion, that gratitude is my portion, that faith is my portion. God, help me to be present with my portion. Oh, Jesus, help me to be present, God, present, God, present, God, present, God, present, God, present, God, present, God. Initiate alabosa, initiate. Jesus, 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 Jesus. Oh, calabosa, initiate, God. Help me to be present with my purpose, God. Help me to be present with my portion, God. You said grace was my portion, God. You said faith was my portion, God. You said power and authority are my portion, God. So help me to be present with my portion, God, because here we are at the end of the year finding ourselves so distracted that we're going to miss our portion, God. And I don't know about anybody else, God. And I don't know who needs to hear this, God. But I don't want to miss my portion, God. I don't want to miss my moment, God. I don't want to miss the season of my life that calls for her to lead me and for me to not fight her, for me to not wrestle with her anymore, God. Because the Holy Spirit has stood her up. The Holy Spirit has stood her up confidently. It took a lot to get to the place that I am today. It took a lot to get to the place that you are today. It took a lot. You survived some things. You fought off some things. You've been through some things. It took a lot for me to get to this place, God. Let me not miss the moment, God. Help me not to abandon the moment, God. Help me not to be so focused on what's around me, God, and the distractions, God, that I miss the moment, God. Oh, God, I need you to help me to stay present, God. Help me to stay in my lane, God. Help me to stay in her lane, God. Help me to go where she leads me because God, you're showing me right now that the Holy Spirit is holding her hand, God, and she's holding my hand, God. The Holy Spirit is holding his hand, God, and he's holding his brother's hand, his uncle's hand, his son's hand. Help me, God, to not make it this far. To just make it this far. Help me, God, to recognize that the stripes on my back, help me, God, to recognize the blessing in that. Help me, God, to recognize the blessing in the stretch marks that birth my beautiful children, God. Help me to recognize that the cellulite that I have on my skin, God, helps to keep me warm at night, God. Oh, God, I don't know about y'all, but I don't know if anybody here has got some flaws that you're willing to admit. You got some flaws that are holding you back. You got some flaws that are keeping you in bondage, in shame. I don't know if anybody's willing to admit that. But if you are, type flaws in the comments, because I'm here to admit that sometimes our flaws keep us distracted and keep us in bondage. And God, I don't want to be paralyzed by the fear of who I'm still trying to become and miss my portion of who she is in this moment, God, and miss my portion of who she needs me to be in this moment, and miss my portion of who you need me to be in this moment, God. I have everything that I need, God. God, I have my portion, God. God, my hands are full, God. God, my cup runneth over, God. God, in this present moment, if I just set my eyes on you, and if I just stay focused, God, because you said, oh God, you said that faith comes by hearing. And you said, God, that hearing comes by the reading of the word, God. And so help me, God, to not abandon my faith because my focus is in the wrong place. God, help me to say it better. Help me to say it better, God. God, if faith is the only way to please you, God, God, I gotta make sure I say this right, so I'm gonna go to my notes. If faith is the only way to please you, God, and you say what I focus on, what we focus on has our faith. In Corinthians 7:35, God, you said what we focus on has our faith. You said that, God. And so you said, whether you come today, whether you come next week, whether you come next year, in 100 years, in 200 years, that what has our focus has our faith. And so if we are focused on these distractions, if we're focused on what's in the sky versus what's above it, I don't know if y'all hear me, but you said that we could either spend the rest of our life worrying and wasting away or trusting. And that even though you've given us our portion, we have to practice how to handle our portion, how to use our portion, how to disperse our portion. God, this is a season where you are prophetically causing us and calling us. Oh, God, I heard you. I heard you, God. You didn't just say you were calling us, God. You said you were causing us in this season to use our faith muscle. Because for so long, we've just made it about lip service, God. For so long, we've read our word, God, but haven't been transformed by the word, God. And you said that you are causing us in this season to grow our faith muscle so that we can practice for the big game. And that where we spend our time, God, is where we spend our portion. And so if that portion is for me, God, to be who I need to be in this season, redirect my focus. God, I'm hearing you say faith is our gift to you. I'm hearing you say faith is our gift to you. Because, God, you said that if we are positioned for faith, God, if we are positioned for faith, that in being positioned for faith, God, that we would be positioned to receive that faith, God. And I'm going to read to you. I'm going to put some word to this. If y'all don't believe me, I'm going to put some word to this so you know exactly what I'm saying. And this is in Hebrews 11. And you can read it for yourself. If you haven't read it, if you're not familiar with it, you can read it for yourself. This is in Hebrews 11. This is in Hebrews 11. And so I want to get close up on this word